Alhamdulillah, ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa u'minu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu wa arsalahu bil huda wa din al haqq liyudhhirahu ala ad-din kullihi wa la kariha al-mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, fa'inna astikal hadith kitabullah, wa awtaka al-ura kalimatul taqwa, wa khayrul milali milatu Ibrahim, wa khayrul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah, وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوزموها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما علامة دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما أتبع وشر الأمة أما الكلام. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah, waqiyah, which definitely means to guard, to safeguard, and to protect. Once one of the Sahaba, I think it was Ibn Abbas, was asked, well, what is this taqwa that you're talking about? He said, if you was in a thorny, sticky, dangerous place, what would you do? He said, I would draw my clothing close to me and walk very carefully. That's taqwa. That means guarding, safeguarding, and protecting. And this time that we're living in, we need what is called muttaqi leadership. That is leadership that possesses taqwa. That is the biggest gap that the Muslims have today. The biggest hole in the ummah is muttaqi leadership. The best of all communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts of those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The worst acts are the ones that are based on innovation. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. And basically, that relates to us more than anybody. The worst thing that we could do is become misguided after guidance. That means we was out here in Jahiliyyah. We didn't know the difference between water and Allah. We didn't, basically, Jahiliyyah means ignorant. That means all the signs that Allah sent us, we ignored them. We ignored them so long that we became ignorant. That's what the word comes from. To ignore. You ignored the signs of Allah so long that now you're living in a state of jahiliyyah, of ignorance. Now, after we get the hidayah and become guided, right? And then, for some reason, we go back to misguidance. That's the worst thing you can do. That's what this is relating to. The worst thing you could do is go back after being guided. The best acts are the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. Worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmuru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa ita'i dil-qurba wa yanha al-fashai wal-munkari wal-baghi ya'idakum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin, and He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يَرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah and His plan willeth to guide, He opens their breast to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. وَأَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Hold on all together by the rope which Allah stretches out to you, and be not misguided. So, wa'tasimu comes from the word asama. In ancient times, asama in Arabic meant a fortified city, like a fortress. So asama technically means secure yourself, protect yourself, like a fortification. That's what it meant. The capital of each city had the subtitle Asama because it was fortified, it protected the people. So originally in Arabic, that's what the term means. So what is this saying? وَأَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. So the translation is clear. Hold fast or protect yourself, protect your ummah, protect your religion. Hold fast to the rope of Allah. How? By holding on to Islam. But the key word here is jamiyya. What is jamiyya? We got it off. Jam al-yad, the closed fist. Right? Jamiyya, everything we do on today, from Salatul Jum'ah, because it gathers together, it congregates the people, right? All of those come from the same word. So this is saying, hold on all together to the rope of Allah. Not individually. Not even as a group, or subgroup. You're going to hold on as Ikhwan al-Muslimin. They're going to hold on as Jamaat Islami, right? And in the final analysis, their decisions will not be based totally on Islam. Part of their decision will be based on what's good for their unit, their organization. Hidden in this means hold on all together to the rope which Allah stretches out to you, and be not divided. Don't make individual decisions. Look at it all over the world. Ikhwan in Egypt made a decision based on what they thought was good for them, and it got them slaughtered. It got them slaughtered just like they did in Abdul Nasser's time. In the 50s, slaughtered them. Why? Because they made a decision that they thought was right based on that time they were living in a few years back. And the system came out and wore them out, right? Because it was not the time to take the presidency. And they wouldn't listen to the poor Negro over here to tell them that ain't the time to do that. They came over here, talked to Obama. He said, well, yeah, you guys go ahead, we'll support you. And they cut their throat. Why? Because it was not the time. You know, leadership is important. But if they got the thing set up so you can't fix Egypt under no conditions, right? And you take the leadership, guess what? After a few months, after a couple of years, everybody's going to blame it on you, right? They've had the problem for 100 years, but the people will blame it on you. And they didn't understand that totally. They had an idea, they didn't understand. وَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. All decisions should be based on what is good for the ummah. The global ummah, not just good for your little crew or even your country. What's good for the ummah? What's good for us? All of us, right? This is where we're headed. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best community ever raised up for mankind because you enjoin the right, you forbid the wrong, and you believe in Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. It is reported by the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam who once said, Allah shall raise for this ummah at the head of every century a man who shall renew or revive for its religion. That's in Abu Dawood. This word is mujaddid. A mujaddid is one that will practice tajdeed. In fact, I'll just give you the strict dictionary meaning. The personality mentioned in the above hadith is known as mujaddid. The root of the word mujaddid in Arabic is jadda. Jadda, to be new, to be a recent development. Jid means seriousness, earnestness, and diligence. Jadid means new, recent, unprecedented, and anew. Tajdeed, on the other hand, is renewal, reorganization, reform, renovation, restoration, reconditioning, rejuvenation, regeneration. So a mujaddid is one who is a reformer, a reviver, and a renewer. That means as we practice Islam over the periods and generations, some cultural aspects slip in. Some environmental situations slip into our deen, right? Then, this is just natural. This is not something nobody sit down and say, let me slip something into the deen. No. But what happens is, after a certain time, it may come from conquest. It may come from exorbitant wealth. It may come from any type of situation that might cause the Muslims to begin to practice small things other than Islam, or incorporating into Islam things that are not necessary. Now, here's what the mujaddid do. The mujaddid revives Islam, renews Islam, restores Islam, totally regenerates and purifies the religion of all of those cultural and other aspects of Islam. This is the process of tajdeed. Tajdeed means cleanliness, purification. And so the person that is going to do that must have certain characteristics. Leadership, understanding of the environmental circumstances around him. He has to have a plan of Islamic revival. And after the religion is revived, he got to have something that is so intact that all the forces that come out to squash Islam, they can defend themselves. Now we have to look at now. Look, 50 people, 52 people was killed last week, right, in New Zealand. The plan for that slaughter, we made dua for them here, because it happened way we prayed for them. We asked Allah to accept their martyrdom. We did al-Faqih for them here, right away. Now, there's all kind of things people say in the newspaper. Oh, that was a white nationalist, that was a this, that was a that. And, of course, it's a lone killer. Now, everybody that kills somebody important in America, from Martin Luther King, right? A lone killer. Robert Kennedy, lone killer. JFK, lone killer, right? All the people, I don't care who it is, there is never a conspiracy. Never a conspiracy, right? There's no, this guy just went off and decided to kill this most important person at that time. When this person last week martyred those 52 or whatever the number was people, that was a conspiracy, that was a plan, that was something that they wanted to do. Number one, they want to take the guns out of all the people around the world. New Zealand, they thought was a weak spot. Australia would be harder, right? And America is very difficult. Well, why do they want to take guns from everybody? Because America revolution was done by Minutemen, isn't that right? Wasn't done by the regular army. Remember, everybody had their musket in America. They hunted, they slaughtered Indians with them. Everybody in America was armed, right? Everybody. So when the British come to roll on everybody, they just called out, that's why the Constitution mentions militia. Militia is not a regular army. Militia is people you send out a call, hey, let's go, right? So they wanted, they had, the militia is the one that defeated the great British Army. And in those days, the sun never set on the British Empire, right? So they emboldened in the Constitution the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms and a well-regulated militia. What did that mean? At that time, that means if the government can have cannons, you can too. It was not a protection against your neighbor, it was a protection against the government. Remember, Americans did not trust the government. What did Thomas Jefferson say? Every 20 years, the patriots say it now. White folks, patriots, real patriots, some of them. They say clearly that this is what Thomas Jefferson said, you have to have a revolution every 20 years. What does that mean? People get used to the system, they learn how to game it, they learn how to set it up. But, so this person was part of a global conspiracy or an American conspiracy, right? And the stuff that they were teaching is absolutely not true. You're going to be taken over by immigrants, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. And all the people they so-called talking to stole every place. The New Zealanders went down to New Zealand, and of course they got a treaty with the Maori people that we're going to work in cooperation, but technically they colonized New Zealand. The Australians, what did they do to the Aborigines? The Aborigines right now today are all on reservations like the Indians are here. They're alcoholics, they're drug addicts. They are in bad shape. Just like the highest rate of drugs, crime, and everything else is on Indian reservations. They said, well, we don't have alcohol on the Indian reservation, but they got it right outside. You walk right across the street, and there's liquor stores lined up. You see? So, what was the purpose? What's the purpose of all of this? The purpose is to take guns. What's the first thing the lady did? They said, we're going to get rid of all assault weapons and da-da-da-da-da. What about all the killings here? What about the Navy Yard killing? The guy in the Navy Yard told the FBI, I have somebody in my head telling me to kill people. Of course he got somebody in his head. Them. Telling them to go kill some. What about the Sandy Hook people up there? The little kids. Another lone killer. Loner. All the killings have the same pattern. Why? Because, what about 9/11? What about 9/11? 9/11 had 15 of the so-called hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. Right? And what they said? Well, if 15 of them came from Saudi Arabia, why wasn't Saudi Arabia invaded? What would they do to if they came from Iran, Iraq, or Syria? Right? They would invade. Instead, they hid all the information. Remember the 28 pages? It might have been 2,800 pages. They hid because that's their homeboy, Saudi Arabia. Why can they bomb Yemen all they want right now, today? Because Saudi Arabia is doing it, that's their homeboy. That's their homeboy. Why can't, whether it's Brazil, whether it's countries throughout Latin America, if the dictator want to kill everybody in town, they'll do it. If they are America's friends. If they're not America's friend, like Venezuela, America will use all of its power and everything to get rid of it. Isn't it right? This is the time we're living in. Our kings, our presidents, and all our people are mostly dictators, colonels, generals, and all other kind of misfits. The only thing they got in common is that they belong to the American system. And anybody that don't, they're going to go out and they're going to try to burn them, try to knock them over. Isn't that right? Now let's get back to guns in New Zealand, guns in Australia, guns in America. Now, dear America, why do they want to take guns from the wonderful American people? You remember the heroin scourge years ago? The rebellion was in full gear. The Black Rebellion. How did they stop it? Heroin. How did they stop Chinese reunification? Opium War of 1840. Right? That's British. What's happening here in America right now? America is going through changes. What we have to do is get to the American people that they're working on before they all get killed like we did. What does that say? The white folks, right now, right? Remember what all our literature say, you know, call people to Allah, work righteous deeds, and say, I'm a Muslim. Then, what does it say? It goes on to say, to reply to evil, not with evil, but with good. Right? Repel evil with good. That's what the Quran is telling us to do. Repel evil with what? With good. Then it'll be between whom you and them was hatred will be as your good friend. And the word in Arabic is wali. Waliyun. That we would be their wali. Now understand what it's saying. It's saying we, the people that was involved in hatred, mistreating you and everything, you will become their wali. Hamim. What is Hamim? Hamim in Arabic is warm, like warm water or something like that. It means you will become their warm and fuzzy friend. See what I'm saying? You're going to become, for us, this is the Americans. What Americans? They white Americans. That you, according to the Quran, job is to rescue them in their time of need. Although 50 years ago all the heroes was white men and their main job was to cause you trouble and enmity. But what you gonna do? You're gonna return their enmity with good. That's what it says. We'll go over it again next week, but that's exactly the word, the terminology that is used. So our job here in America, why are all these white males so angry and upset? Why are they angry and upset? Well, several things. Number one, they are treated like useless individuals. Useless. They have no more jobs for them, right? So they're considered useless. Now, they're going to take useless people and build robots to make them even more useless. Now, that's a crazy man. That's a crazy system that has a system, an economic system. But because you make more money, right, you don't have to pay health care and insurance and all that for robots. So you'll make robots to make less money, but that is not the human thing to do, right? That's not a planned ascendancy. That is a psychological problem with money and the acquisition of power thereof. So now what's our job? We're going to get back to that. Don't worry, we ain't going to stray off. Our job basically is to rescue the American white man. Of course, the Negro can go too. But why? You ever heard of opiates? 70,000 people last year, right? Died of opiates, right? Now, when me and you was using heroin, which few of us still is, but ain't no 70,000 died in no 1 year, never, right? But white people are under attack, white males especially. Why are they under attack? Because they own all the guns. And if they ever come to the truth, if we ever can get out there to them, to their churches and every others, and explain to them that they're the target like we was, because we was a target. We know the pattern of being a target. We know America better than anybody. There ain't nobody. Anybody come here and say they know America better than us, they're calculated crazy. If CARE said they know America better than us, something wrong with CARE. Simple as that. I don't want to be upset about it, but if they think they know more about the euro in America, they are absolutely crazy. And every decision they make will be based on crazy. But now here we are. Why are we so hooked up and rescuing our past tormentor? Why? Because he's the target now. Negroes don't have guns. If they do have guns, they've got 1 or 2 firecrackers. They'll mostly shoot each other. Black on black, right? Tell the truth. We all know that. Who's killing most of the police? Them white boys. They stopped the white boy, he loaded down with stuff. He trained just like they do. You don't ever see no blacks hardly at the range every now and then. But white folks go all the time. Do you know white folks got whole shells of guns? They got gun racks. That's what they got. The poorest of them got gun racks. What's important about guns? The revolution. If the people are well armed, you can't imprison them. You can't take them to jail. Right? They will rebel. The problem now is white folks are being misled by big white folks that own everything. They telling them it's immigrants, it's niggas, and it's all them people that's the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is the system, right? We have to tell them, they'll learn in a few years, but we want to get to them before they all get burnt out, browned out, and dead like us. Now, they torment the modern white man. Look at all their movies. Who gets the girl nowadays? Right off in the sunset. The white man? Absolutely not. Idris Elba will get the white girl. What's her name? Kate something other, right? They come out of the mountains and they get hooked up. Star Wars. Who gets the white girl? Now, how much torment? They tormenting this cracker. He ain't smarter. He don't know. He think it's Hollywood or something. Yeah, it's Hollywood, but all of them are in it together. This is a business deal. We're going to torment, we're going to make the whole problem look like it's Mexicans, Latinos, Negroes, and all people of color. So him with his not so sharp self, right? He'll think you the problem. That's our job, is to tell him, hey, it ain't us. We didn't send how many factories we sent overseas? How many factories I sent to China, right? How many factories that are in Hong Kong or here and there, right? We got to tell him, because he's a little slow. Yes, he's a little slow now. If he wasn't slow, opiates, knocking him over so fast, 2 people, and the DEA and the other one, yeah, 1 man and 1 woman. 3 years ago, they quit. Why? Because when they wanted to point to, it's the big companies, right? It's the big companies. It ain't no heroin dealers in the street like it was. There's still some there. But all of this is opiates, Oxycontin and all of that stuff, right? Who makes that? Do me and you make that? Absolutely not. Do the Mexicans make it? Absolutely not. A few Chinese make them, but they come from the big companies. We want to get to humanity and try to rescue humanity before those people wipe them out. That's the whole job. That's all. That's a simple job. Now, in order to get there, we need a little Islamic revival. A little renewal. وَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Do you know? Things are breaking our way, although it don't look like it. 52 people might have been killed down in New Zealand. And they thought they was going to divide the people up and make them mad. Look at TV, look at all newspapers. Most of the people coming out and supporting it is white people. When the brother called the Adhan, of course we don't have Adhan and stuff at Janaza, but they just happened to call the Adhan today. Where? On radio and TV all over New Zealand. Did y'all hear that? The Adhan. And the people that came to the Janaza, they had a special place, was mostly Euros, white folks. Yeah, white folks. Look at all the newspapers. All the faces are mostly white. Few Muslims here and there. But a small population of Muslims. What are the white folks saying? This is not us. Even the prime minister, whatever her name was, she had hijab on today and read a hadith. I was listening to this white lady. She reading the hadith on unity. Right? That whoever, first is basically whoever is not conscious of a people, they're not of them. But she went on to read the one related to, if this part of the body hurts, then the whole body feel the pain. You know, if the eye hurts a little bit, the whole body. And I said, get on there, year-old lady. It's fine. I'm trying to tell you, this is a new time. Things are breaking for us in ways that we don't imagine. They had a job to slaughter those people, the Muslims. We want to make their martyrdom of a value. How do we make their martyrdom of a value? Right? We make use, of course, Allah say that it's going to be a value anyway. You can't do nothing about that. But what we want to do is our part in the global rejuvenation of Islam. We talk about nonviolent resistance, but it should be organized nonviolent resistance. Isn't that right? Organized, well, we have a plan, we structure in every country, in every region, in every part of the world. We have a plan, strategic idea of what we want to do. We want to take advantage of everything that come our way because we're at a deficit now. But Allah is helping us in many ways, and if we're not organized, if we're not focused, we'll never get there. But we don't say never. When Allah wants you to get somewhere, you're going to get there. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Right? Replacement, remember the ayats of replacement? You want to be replaced? Think about it. Because Allah said, Anfaru, Tanfaru, if you don't go forth in the cause of Allah, we're going to exchange you for somebody else. We're going to replace yourself with somebody else. So, good God Almighty, I'm going to stop in 3 minutes. I know you don't believe it, but watch and see. Maybe it might go to 5, but it ain't going no further than that. So Mujaddid is a reviver, restorer, renewer. Remember, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Khatam al-Nabiyyin. He's a lock on it. He's a seal of the prophet. After his clothes up, after he's gone, his clothes. But he's Kafata and Lil-Nas. He is the messenger to all the people. Right? This Mujaddid is not a prophet. He can't be. But he has certain skills of organization, of focus, of vision, that he can visualize the future and he can begin to move, right, the ummah along with him. Now, at one period, this Mujaddid was only an individual, but you can't rule out in the language a community, a group, you see, that's doing that job. So, we ain't gonna mess with all this, what we got. Remember, brothers and sisters, in closing, that we live in a society, and now it's closing in on all of us. You don't see nowhere where there is not huge disaster and catastrophe everywhere, every year, during every season. Right? Last year they had so much rain in Carolina, and then they had rain and storms down in Florida, and it went on and on and on, right? And now you have the same thing over here in Nebraska, and all the Midwest region. The water is so high they don't know what to do with it. They just have to sit back and watch. In other areas, there are extreme drought. There's a total imbalance. How did Allah create the earth? With wazn, mizan, balance. Isn't that right? Who's throwing this creation out of balance? It is the width of the rich, the wealthy, those people who don't care about me and you. When they said the 1% against 99%, they was telling the truth. That 1% of the people don't care about race, about color, of national origin. All they care about is money. Right? All they care about is wealth. Now, If we want to let it go, we can let it go. If we want to leave the beautiful world Allah created in balance, with its wonderful flowers and trails and rain and snow and all of that, all at the proper time, right? If Allah can make snow to snow up in the mountains, and then in the summertime that water, right, melts and just keeps everything green. The reason I'm saying that because we could see when I was in the little kiddie jail, 100 miles away, we was in the foothills, but we could see the mountains way off there with snow. And it would be hot in summertime where we are, but we used to go to a stream. Beaver swings and after that. It was a stream, trout in it and everything, right in the middle of the summer. Just watching that snow melt, and it was cold, way up there 100 miles away in the mountains. I'm telling you, Allah created this universe, or this earth that we live on, with perfect balance. And it goes, it's galactical, it's universal, it's complete. If it was chaos in the universe, it would be everything would be worse than atomic energy going crazy, right? Everything would be bumping into each other, exploding and carrying on, and it would have never developed the way it is now. Now, who do you think's job it is? If you're the vicegerent, right? If you're the Khalifa, one of the words for Khalifa in our clothes is custodian, right? So you thought you just gonna be because we the Khalifa. No, you're gonna keep it together. That's your job. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is besides thee. Ameen. We come to salat.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya li salat, aqamat salat, Allahu Akbar.